Good evening, everybody. In this video, I am going to quickly tell you the number one race strategy that every beginner should know in order to not only ensure that they finish their first or second Ironman triathlon, but they also race it to its fullest potential. Now, this will be a 3-part video. Naturally, swim, bike, and run. There are slightly different strategies for each of these legs because not only are they different sports and different disciplines, but there are different things to consider when talking about each. So let's dig right into this. Starting with the swim, the number one thing that you will need to do, and I say need because this is a necessity. If you do not do this, you will be screwing yourself for the whole race. So what you're going to do is, as you get to the race day morning, you will notice once you get all your bags in order, everything is submitted, you check your bike, you make sure that the tires are pumped, hint, hint. That's not part of the strategy, but always be prepared as a general baseline rule. As you line up for the race, there's going to be corrals of people lined up based on their anticipated swim finish time. You should know exactly how fast you plan on finishing your swim, and if you have done your training properly, you will know pretty much what your 1 mile and 2 mile swim times are. And you can extrapolate forward from there. Now, the goal of the swim, especially for your first race, is to finish the swim without burning too much energy so that you are tired or fatigued in any way on the bike. Now, what's actually going to happen? You're going to line up. You're going to have your wetsuit on if it's wetsuit legal. If not, you're going to have your tri-suit and skim suit on to be more hydrodynamic. And when you line up with your anticipated swim finish time and you get in the water, adrenaline is going to be pumping through your body. So for the first few hundred yards, your muscles are going to be burning. You are going to feel like your heart rate is super high. And you're going to be nervous. And then you're going to realize that your pool swimming breathing strategy is not working for you on the open water swim where people are punching and kicking you and swimming over you. And this is normal. So don't freak out. So the number one thing that you're going to do once you get in the water is not freak out. You are going to keep composure, and you're going to find your rhythm. Now, since you started with the proper timing group, you're going to significantly reduce the number of people trying to swim over you, and you're going to significantly reduce the urge to swim faster than you should be swimming. Because if you know you're with your timing group, these people, a lot of them are going to be nervous too, but for the most part, the average of the group is going to be swimming at that pace that they anticipate finishing. So if you're comfortable with the time that you selected to finish that swim, then just stick with your group, find your rhythm, have a swim buddy, learn how to draft while you're swimming. So you don't want to be racing people to pass them in the water. If you have somebody that you know is swimming your speed, you can drag right behind them and just keep lockstep with them. In no time, you'll be in your rhythm, and in even less time, you'll be done with your swim. So that's a pro tip, along with the strategy, which is to find your swim corral, which is the appropriate time for you, and stick with them. Now, If you did this right, then you likely finish slightly faster than the time that you selected, because the momentum of all the people swimming in front of you and with you, you will create a current that's pretty much going to be pulling you along the swim path, and that will lead you to be swimming faster than you would otherwise when you're swimming alone or in a pool. So, added benefits of sticking to the right group. When you get out of the water, it'll be perfectly normal for you to be a bit fatigued, maybe a bit dizzy, a bit disoriented, but this leads perfectly into strategy number 2, which is for the bike. Now, when you start the bike, you might be a little bit disoriented, a little bit off your balance. Starting the bike, we just want to pass through T1 as quickly as possible. Get your bike shoes on, get to the starting line for the bike and get on the bike. And then let yourself, again, get into the groove of your bike. Now, the strategy here is you're going to keep your heart rate at, on average, below 150 beats per minute. You can go lower than that. If you want to be conservative, you can take the first lap of the bike at 140, take the second lap at 150, whatever you want to do. But what you want to prevent is spending too much time above 150 in the 160s and in the 170s, including if you're on hilly courses. You need to learn how to manage your effort while you're on the bike, because this is going to be incredibly important for your run. Now, here's where you'll benefit as a beginner. Likely, you have absolutely no clue how quickly you're going to finish your bike, but you know that you can finish the distance, or at least you have an idea that you can finish the full distance. So, picking a random speed based on whatever simulator you're riding or whatever local routes you can do where you live, or even if you're lucky to live near the race course and you've done the route during your training, even better. But you'll never know how you're feeling on race day, especially after doing the full swim. So oftentimes people will end up being able to ride quite a bit faster than they thought that they'd be able to ride, purely because it's race day. And so by keeping your speed dictated by your level of effort, which is dictated by your heart rate, that's pretty much the sweet spot in how to manage your effort and balancing it with speed, while, and I'm not covering this in this video, but this is incredibly important, managing your nutrition plan properly. If you do this right, you will finish the bike in likely faster than you originally anticipated, and you're going to be doing it in a way where you're not blowing up your potential to run through the full marathon, because once again, this is a race. Your goal is, hopefully, you'll be able to run through the whole thing. If you're not fit enough to run the whole thing, there is absolutely no problem with that. The strategy still applies, but you want to set yourself up in the best position possible to have a good run. So you're going to finish your bike. You're going to be tired. Hopefully your nutrition strategy shows that you should really be eating more on the bike than on the run. You're going to be able to absorb much more nutrition, much more sodium, much more fluids on the bike as compared to when you're on the run. So now, part 3, we're at the run, and you could probably guess the strategy here too. You are going to manage your heart rate once again to be at or below 150 on average. Now, depending on your fitness level, and if this is your first time doing an Ironman, you might not even be able to do the marathon holding 150 because your legs are going to be so tired that you can't get your body up to a sufficient enough level of effort to generate that kind of heart or cardio response. That happened to me in my last race. But what you're going to do is, if you notice that your heart rate is just not revving up how you want it to or how you're expecting it to, it's fine to settle in at a lower number, but the goal is not to settle in at a higher number. So what I did personally when I encountered this situation is I knew that it would be hard to get fluids while I was on the run. I knew that my heart rate was pushing to 150 would have been more difficult for me than I felt that my body was capable of. And I knew that it was going to be harder to get food in at this point in the race because you've been eating these nutrition packs for 10 hours at this point. I don't remember how long it was at this point for me. I think it was 8 hours. So you've been just really challenging your GI system. So I settled in at 140 beats per minute, and I make sure to carry a water bottle that I was pretty much continually sipping on the whole duration of the run. And I ran the whole thing because that was my goal for the last Ironman, to run the whole thing. Now, if I was fit enough, or even if it was a mental weakness that was telling me that I wasn't fit enough for this, had I been able to hold an effort on the marathon at 150 beats per minute, I would have had I would have had a more significant PR in every single discipline, and the PR in the marathon would have been significant, and it probably would have brought me to sub 13:30, which my time ended up being 13:51, just jogging slow and steady that whole marathon. But that being said, using my heart rate to basically manage my level of effort for the whole race made me finish strong. I felt great at the finish. I felt great for the whole day, and I finished while it was still daylight out. I did not anticipate this at all. And in my head, entering the race, I was telling myself that I might finish with shaving an hour off my previous time, which was 16:38. My first time was 16:38, and I thought going into that second Ironman that I would shave maybe an hour. And with this strategy, I shaved off nearly 3 hours from my original race time to get a 13:51. So that's just how powerful it is to approach a race with a proper strategy. Now, on that first race, I pretty much did not have any semblance of a strategy at all other than going based off how I felt. Now, that's a very dangerous strategy because there's no numbers behind it. I didn't have any idea of how I could do, and there wasn't something that was checking my mental gauge that I was telling myself I was working hard or I wasn't working hard enough. Now, this is exactly what works for me. It works for the people that I coach and advise. And I am 100% sure that it will work for you, and it is exactly what any beginner needs to make the most of their first Ironman triathlon. So that's it. That's the strategy, or that's the race plan. And if you like this, then please subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments.